Welcome. The topic we will be discussing in this lecture is various disk scheduling algorithms. So generally it is the job of the operating system to ensure that all the hardwares are used in an efficient way. So with respect to disk drives, efficient usage in the sense to access the hard disk drive at a faster rate. That is, the access time should be fast and the disk bandwidth also should be high and the seek time should be reduced. Seek time will normally depends on the distance of a particular cylinder. Okay, so seek time already we have defined. Seek time is defined as the time required for the disk arm to come to a particular cylinder, okay? To come above a particular cylinder. And what is disk bandwidth? See, disk bandwidth is the total amount of bytes transferred divided by the total time between the first request for service and the completion of the last transfer. Okay, so bandwidth, so we can say that bandwidth bw, which is equal to number of bytes transferred, total bytes transferred, say let me call it as tb, divided by the ending time, the time of the last data transfer, and the minus starting time. Okay, so that will be what is called as bandwidth. Okay, so bandwidth also should increase. That is, the gap between the starting time and the ending time should be less so that the bandwidth will increase. Okay, fine. So yeah, so so the request to access the hard disk drive may come from operating system, or it may come from any of the system process, or it may also come from the user processes. Okay, and if the disk is immediately available, the particular process which want to access the disk can access it straight away. But if it is not available, then it will be placed in a queue. The request will be placed in a queue, and the disk drive will service the request by taking one by one request from the queue. Okay, and for that we have several algorithms available, several optimization or several disk scheduling algorithms available, which will decide the order in which the request will be taken. Okay, so it is not that, say for example, currently the drive is busy, and there are some requests from some process. Say one of the process want to access, say, cylinder 10, another process want to access cylinder 1, another process want to access cylinder 4, another process want to access cylinder 6. Okay, now it is the job of the disk scheduling algorithm to decide in what order it should be accessed. It is not that always first 10 will be accessed, then 1, then 4, next 6. No, actually the disk scheduling algorithm will decide in which order the service will be satisfied. So that is what we are going to discuss in this particular topic. We will be discussing several disk scheduling algorithms, which will decide like in what order the request to access the hard disk will be satisfied. So we'll be discussing some of this disk scheduling algorithms. For all the disk scheduling algorithms, we'll be considering this as the example. That is, a particular process or more than one process want to access these cylinders in this particular order. First, they want to access the cylinder 98, then 183, then 37, then 122, then 14, then 124, then 65, and then 67. This is the request. That is, uh, a given process or more than one process would like to access these cylinders. Okay, and currently the head is at cylinder 53. Okay, currently the head is located at cylinder 53. Now let us see the various disk scheduling algorithms, how they will satisfy this particular request. Fine. So the first disk scheduling algorithm that we'll be discussing is FCFS. So FCFS stands for first come first serve disk scheduling algorithm. So as the name suggests, it will satisfy the request as it will satisfy the request in the order in which it comes. That's it. It won't do any other changes. In what order the request comes, in that same order the request will be satisfied. So currently the head is at 53. So that is represented through this graph. Currently you can see that head is at initially the head is at cylinder 53. Now from the first request is to access the cylinder 98. So head moves to the location 98. Then the next location is 183. Okay, so after accessing 98, the head moves to 183. Then it accesses the data at 183 location. Then the next location is 37. So from 183 again it moves way back to 37. Okay. Then after accessing the data at location 37, the next location is 122. So again it moves back to 122. Then after accessing the data at location 122, the next location to access is 14. So it moves to the location 14 and access the data in location 14. Okay. The next location is 124. So again it moves to the location 124 and access the data at location 124. Okay. The next location to access is 65. So again it goes to the location 65 and access the data at location 65, and the last location is 67. So now it goes to the location 67 and access it. Okay. So this particular way of accessing the what you call the disk is called as FCFS, first come first serve disk scheduling algorithm. That is, the requests were satisfied in the same order in which it arrives. Okay. So totally if you see this particular algorithm, the total head movement is 640 cylinders. The head has moved to satisfy this request. The head has moved across 640 cylinders. So how we got this number in the sense, so from 53 to initially the head moved from 53 to 98. So 53 to 98 means what? So that distance is, it has, for going from 53 to 98 it has to cross 45 cylinders. Okay. Then from 98 it moved to 183. Then from 98 it moved to 183. For that it has to cross 85 cylinders. Okay. Then from 183 it moved back to 37. For that it has to cross 146 cylinders. Okay. Again from 37 it moved to 122. So 122 minus 37 is 85. So for that it has to move 85 cylinders. It has to move through 85 cylinders. Then from 122 it is moving back to 14. So 122 minus 14 is 108. So for that it has to move through 108 cylinders. Okay. Again from 14 it is moving to 124. Okay. So 124 minus yeah, yes, 124 minus 14 is 110. So 14 to 124 it has to cross 110 cylinders. Okay, again from 124 it is moving to 64. So 124 minus, sorry, 65. 124 minus 65 is 59. For that it has to cross 59 cylinders. Again from 65 it is going to 67. For that it has to cross 2 cylinders. So if you add all these things, 45 plus, if you add all these things, 45 plus 85 plus 146 plus 85 plus 108 plus 110 plus 59 plus 2. So what you get is 640. So this algorithm, to satisfy this request, the head has to move across 640 cylinders, right? So basically this is not a very efficient algorithm, but it's the very simplest algorithm to implement, because as you can see, the request is satisfied in the same order it comes, it comes. So the head has to move zigzag from here and there, from one end to another end. So it cannot be considered as a most efficient algorithm, but it's the simplest algorithm to implement. So this is how the first come first served scheduling algorithm works. Fine. The next algorithm that we'll be discussing is shortest seek time first algorithm. So this algorithm, what it will do in the sense, it will select the request with the minimum seek time from the current head position. Okay. So it will not satisfy the request in the order in which the request comes. Rather from the current head position, it will select that particular request which will be of minimum seek time. Okay. So 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 you can see here, shortest seek time first algorithm is a form of, so it is also something related to, similar to SJF scheduling, shortest job first scheduling. Okay. So because of that, some of the requests may have to, it may lead to starvation for some of the requests. That is, a particular request might have come early, a particular request might have come early, but the head might not be nearest to that position. So it may be making that request to wait for a longer period of time. So because of that, it may lead to starvation. Okay. So let us now discuss the same example using SSTF, shortest seek time first algorithm. Okay. So with shortest seek time first, so so now also we are assuming the head is initially at location 53. Okay. And these are the request. The first request is 98. Okay, but 98 is somewhat away. 183 is very much away, far away. Then 37. So 37 is how much distance away from 53? So if you see 53 minus 37, it is 16. It is 16 locations away from 53. Okay, right? So if you, so currently initially the head is at location 53. Okay, so 53 to 37, if you compare, it is it is 16 locations away from the cylinder. 37 is 15 locations away from the cylinder 53. Next 122, it is very much far away. 14, it's pretty far away. Then 124, it's very much far away. Then 65, it is somewhat close. So let us compare 65 with 53. So if you compare 65 with 53, so 65 minus 53 is 12. Okay, right? 65 minus 53 is 12. So this is the one which can be reached at the shortest time, because seek time is proportional to the distance. Seek time is proportional to the distance. Okay. And next is 67. So if you compare 53 with 67, it is 14 locations away. It is 14 locations away. Okay. So out of all these, so the head can move to the location 65 at a very faster rate. That is, this is the one which has the shortest seek time. Okay. So from 53, the algorithm says that the shortest seek time first selects the request with the minimum seek time from the current head position. So which location has the minimum seek time? 65 has the minimum seek time. So from 53, it moves to the location 65. Okay. Then from 65, obviously the nearest is 67. Then it goes to 67. Okay. Then from 67, from 67, it is going to 37. Okay. 67 to 98, if you see, 67 to 98, the distance is 31 locations. But 67 to 37, it is only 30 locations. So it is going to 37. Okay, then after accessing 37, it is going to location 14, and it is accessing that data. Then from 14, it is going to the location 98, and it is accessing the data at location 98. And then the head moves to the location 122, and it accesses the data at location 122, and then to 124, and then it accesses the data at location 124, and finally to the location 183. Okay, here if you see the head movement, it is crossing only 236 cylinders. Okay, the SSTF, when you use SSTF algorithm, shortest seek time first algorithm, the head is crossing only across 236 cylinders. So you can calculate here. So initially 53 to 65 it is 12. Okay, then 65 to 67 is 2, then 67 to 37 is 30. Okay, then 37 to 14, 37 to 14, how much is, so 37 minus 14 is 23. Okay, 37 to 14 is 23. Then 14 to 98, 14 to 98 is 84. To move from 14 cylinder to 98 cylinder, the head has to cross 84 cylinders. Okay, then from 98 to 122, 98 to 122. So to move from 98 cylinder to 122 cylinder, the head has to cross across 24 cylinders, 24 cylinders. Then from 122 to 124, so further it has to cross 2 cylinders. Then from 124 to 183. Okay, 124 to 183. For moving from 124 to 183, the head has to cross across 59 cylinders. Okay, the head has to cross across 59 cylinders. So if you add all these things, what you will get is 236 cylinders, right? So okay, so what you have to add is 12 plus 2 plus 30 plus 23 plus 84 plus 24 plus 12 plus 59. Okay, so yeah, so you can, so 12 plus 2 plus 30 plus 23 plus 84 plus 24 plus 59. I'm getting somewhat more, I don't know. So let us calculate again. Let us calculate again. See, initially the head is at 53. So we are moving from 53 to 65. Okay. So we are moving from 53 to 65, which is 12. Then 65 to 67 is 2. Okay. Then 67 to 37. 67 to 37. 67 to 37 is 30. Then 37 to 14 is 23. 37 to 14 is 23. Then 14 to 98. 14 to 98 is 84. 14 to 98 is 84. Then 98 to 122. 98 to 122 is 24. 98 to 122 is 24. Okay. Then 122 to 124 is 2. Then 124 to 183. 124 to 183 is 59. Okay. So when you add all these things, what you get is 12 plus 2, 14. 14 plus 30 is 44. Plus 23 is 67. Plus 84 is 151. Plus 24 is 175. Plus 2 is 177. Plus 59 is 236. Yes, I think in the previous case somewhere we went wrong. So now you can see the total head movement is 236 cylinders only. So it is comparatively very much less when compared with the first come first serve algorithm. Okay, so this is how the shortest seek time first algorithm works. The next algorithm that we'll be discussing is scan. So the scan algorithm, what it says in the sense, see whatever may be the scan algorithm, how it works in the sense. So let us say this is the, so this particular plot which shows the different cylinders. say cylinder number goes from say 0 to some 999 or whatever it may be. Okay. Now let us assume that head is at this location. Say head is at location as usual 53. Okay. So head is at location 53. Now this algorithm, what it says in the sense, the head will move in any one direction, either in the forward direction. So this is forward direction and this is reverse direction. Either it will move in the forward direction or in the reverse direction till the end. In the forward direction means it will end till it will move up to 999. The reverse direction means it will move up to 0. Okay. So let us assume initially the head is moving in the reverse direction. If it is moving in the reverse direction, while traveling through the reverse direction, whatever the request in the reverse direction, it will satisfy all those requests. For example, in our case, if you see in the reverse direction, maybe there may be 37 may be there, okay, somewhere. There may be 14 may be there. All these requests it will satisfy. So that is it will access the data in those locations and it will keep moving until it reaches the location 0. Once it reaches 0, then it will travel back in the reverse, that is in the forward direction. So in the forward direction, if you see already it has accessed the data up to 53, so it won't do anything. Then beyond that, whatever the locations has to be accessed, say whether it is 122 or 124 or any locations, it will access. And then so like that it will continue until it reaches the lost location. So like that the head will scan the entire cylinders uh, f- f- uh, from in forward direction and also in the backward direction. So when the head is moving in the forward direction, whatever the request in that direction it will satisfy. When it is moving in the backward direction, whatever the request in that direction it will satisfy. So this algorithm is also called as elevator algorithm. This algorithm is also called as elevator algorithm. One of the drawback with this algorithm is, okay, assume that initially, as you in our case, let us assume the head is at location 53 and currently the head is moving in the backward direction. Okay, but assume that we have more requests in the location which is above 53. That is in the cylinder numbers above 53, we have more requests. We have say 20, 30 or 50 or 100 requests in the locations which is above 53, but the head is first moving in the backward direction. So and then after reaching the zeroth location, zeroth cylinder, then it has to come back all the way to these locations. So this much time these data or these requests were, were 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 expected to wait. So until this time, this request has to wait. So this is one of the drawback with the scan algorithm. Okay. So the scan algorithm is also called as elevator algorithm. So for the given example, whatever we have discussed, if you apply scan algorithm, we'll get a 208 cylinder access. Totally, the head has to pass through 208 cylinders. Okay. So as I have already told, uh, if the requests are uniformly dense, that is uh, uh, that is that is that is if the request is uniformly dense, that is in the sense that uh, every location uh, that is say currently the head is at location 53. Before 53 also you have some 5 locations to access, and after 53 also you have some 5 locations to access. So that is called as uniformly dense. Currently head is at location 53. Before 53 you have 5 locations to access, then and after 53 also you have 5 locations to access. Or even you can say before 53 there are 50 locations to access and after 53 there are 50 locations to access. Now initially if the head is moving in the reverse direction, first these 50 will be satisfied. Okay, and these 50 locations will be expected to wait. Okay, so this is something an unfair distribution. Okay, so the request at the other end, okay, other end has to wait for a longest period of time. Okay. When the requests are uniformly dense, largest density at other end of the disk and those wait the longest. Okay, so that is the request at the other end has to wait for a longer period of time. If the head is moving in this direction, then these request has to wait for a longer period of time. So this is one of the drawback with this particular algorithm. Okay. So let us see the example. So this is the request which is to be satisfied. and currently head is at location 53, and let us assume that the head is moving in the reverse direction. So from 53 it first satisfies 37, then 14, okay, then it goes up to cylinder 0. There is nothing to access in cylinder 0, but this is how the algorithm works. It goes all the way in the reverse direction up to the 0th cylinder, and then it uh, it, 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 it accesses the cylinder 65, because all the other locations it has accessed. It access the data at location 67, and then to 67, sorry, 65, this is 65, and then to 67, then 98, then 122, then 124, and then 183. Okay, so this is how this scan algorithm works. So you can see it has the number of cylinders it has to pass is 208 cylinders, right? Fine. Okay. The next algorithm that we'll be discussing is C-scan. So actually the C-scan is a variation of a scan algorithm. C-scan is a variation of a scan algorithm. It provides a more uniform wait time than the scan. So in the scan algorithm, if you have seen, if the data requests were uniformly distributed across the disks, and if the head is moving in one direction, then the request in the other direction has to wait for a longer period of time when compared with the request in the in the direction in which the head is moving initially. Okay, but that will not happen with C-scan, because in C-scan the C-scan ensures that the waiting time would be uniform. So how it achieves in the sense, the head moves from one end of the disk to other, servicing the request. Okay, but when it reaches the other end, it immediately returns back to the beginning of the disk without servicing any request. Okay, that is, in the forward direction only the head will service the request. In the backward direction it will not serve any request. So currently if the head is at location 53, okay, and if it is moving in the forward direction, whatever the request in the forward direction, it will serve all the requests. Okay, in the forward direction it will service all the requests until it reaches the lost cylinder. But in the backward direction it will not serve any request. It will just move to the location 0. It will just move the cylinder 0. Then again, once again it will start the journey in the forward direction, and in the forward direction, whatever the requests are there, it will keep satisfying those requests. Okay, so this is how this particular algorithm works. Okay, that is, in the forward direction, it initially it will move in the forward direction and it will satisfy all the requests, and after reaching the end of the cylinder it will straight away move back to the uh, 0th position. In the reverse direction it will not satisfy, or it will not service any of the request. Okay, so that is how the algorithm C-scan works. Okay, so you can see this. Let us see how the C-scan algorithm works for the given data. So this is the data 98, 183, 137, 122, the same data. And initially we are assuming head is at location 53. So let us say now the head is moving in the forward direction. So in the forward direction, it will satisfy all the requests. After 53, it goes to 98. It serves that request, and then to, sorry, after 53 it goes to 65. It serves that request, then to 67, then to 98, then to 122, then to 124, then to 183, and then it reaches the end of the disk. There is nothing to serve at location 199, but the algorithm should go till the lost cylinder. So it goes up to the lost cylinder, that is 199. Then it travels way back to cylinder 0. Okay, in the reverse direction you can see it is not serving any request. Then once again it starts its journey in the forward direction, and it serves the request at location 14 and location 37. Like that it will continue the journey. Okay, this is how the algorithm C-scan works. Okay, fine. So these are the various disk scheduling algorithms that are available. Okay, there is another algorithm which is called a C-look algorithm. Okay, see, actually there is nothing specific with C-look. C-look is a special version of scan algorithm. Okay, I mean look is a special version of scan algorithm, and C-look is a special version of C-scan algorithm. is a version of scan algorithm, and CLOOK is a version of CSCAN algorithm. So how this algorithm works in the sense, if you take the scan algorithm, what it will do, if the head is at location 53, and if it is currently uh, traveling in the reverse direction it will satisfy all the requests, and it will move till the end of the till the zeroth cylinder, and then it will move in the forward direction, and in the forward direction whatever the request, it will service that request, and again it will move till the last cylinder. Okay, so that is how scan algorithm works. But look algorithm, what it will do in the sense, it is very similar to the scan algorithm. So but it will not go till the end of the, when it is going in the reverse direction, it will not go up to the zeroth cylinder. Rather, it will go only up to the location where there is the lost data item to be serviced, or the lost cylinder to be serviced. So in our case, if you see, I think the lost cylinder is 14. So after reaching cylinder number 14, okay, so if you take look algorithm, after servicing the request of particular cylinder 14, it will start its journey in the reverse direction. That is, it will start serving the request in the forward direction. Okay, and then it will keep serving the request in the forward direction until it reaches the what you call, the lost. So in the forward direction, what is the highest value we have? 183. So I guess 183 is the highest value. So in the forward direction, similarly in the forward direction, it will not go up to the last cylinder. It will satisfy all the requests like 90, 98, 122, 124, and it will come up to 183. Okay, after 183, it will not go up to the last cylinder. At 183, it will get back. Okay, right? So that is what the look algorithm will do. It will not go up to in the reverse direction, it will not go up to the zeroth cylinder. Similarly, in the forward direction, it will not go up to the last cylinder. Rather, it will serve only up to the last request. After the last request in a particular direction, the it will reverse its scanning process. That is how the look algorithm works. And CLOOK is very similar to CSCAN. So as we have discussed what CSCAN will do, as we have discussed, CSCAN, what it will do in the sense, it will serve the request only in the forward direction, and it will not serve the request in the backward direction. In the backward direction, it will directly come to zeroth location. Okay, but CLOOK, what it does in the sense, in the forward direction, it will serve the request, but while serving, it will not go till the last cylinder. Rather, it will serve up to the last requested, whatever the last request. So in our case, if the last request is at cylinder 183, it will serve up to 183. Okay, after 183, it will reverse its direction. Okay, it will reverse its direction to to whichever the first request. Okay, so in our case, the first request is 14, so it will not go way back to 0. Rather, it will go up to 14. Again, from 14, it will go up to 14, and then it will serve the request of 14th cylinder, and then it will start its journey in the forward direction. Okay, so that is the difference. So that is how look and CLOOK works. So look and CLOOK are nothing but special version of scan and CSCAN, where the cylinder will not go till the last cylinder, where the head will not move till the last cylinder in the forward direction, and the head will not move till the zeroth cylinder in the backward direction. Right? Okay. Fine. Let us stop here. So this is the various disk scheduling algorithms which we have. So that's it about this particular chapter. We'll stop the discussion of mass storage device with this. Yeah, thank you.